Yeah, the Indiana Fever finally get in the win column in their second game of the season, and Caitlin Clark put on a dazzling performance minus the 3-point shot. We got to get into it. Welcome to Keep the Vision. Make sure you like, comment, subscribe, share the channel. Hit that bell notification to hype the video.
Indiana finally got back in the win column after the disaster of opening weekend, but the final result barely tells the full story. On paper, it looks like a simple victory for the Fever. In reality, this game was packed with chaos, momentum swings, major problems, and a few encouraging signs that completely changed the conversation. What should have turned into an easy blowout became something far more revealing about this team.
Indiana Fever won a game tonight versus the LA Sparks that ended up being much closer than it should have ever been. Okay, the Indiana Fever should have won this game, running away by nearly 30. Somehow they win a single digit, a 9-point game.
A 9-point victory over the Los Angeles Sparks might look solid in the box score, but the actual game told a completely different story. This was supposed to be a total runaway. The Sparks were already shorthanded coming in, missing key players like Ray Burrell and Sarah Ashley Barker. Yet Indiana still allowed Kelsey to explode for 25 points and keep the game alive deep into the fourth quarter. And the biggest reason behind that strange performance starts with the Fever's superstar, who dominated almost every aspect of the game except the very skilled that made her famous in the first place.
The one thing that's missing from Caitlin Clark in these games is the 3-point shot. Okay, even in the Dallas game, she had 20 points, 7 assists, 5 rebounds. If she shoots 4 of 9 from 3 instead of 2 of 9, we're looking at a 26-point game. Instead of her, she shot 1 of 7 from 3 today. If she shoots 3 of 7 from 3 instead of 1 of 7, we're looking at a 30-point.
24 points, 9 assists, and 4 rebounds. By most standards, that's still an elite performance and nearly a double-double for Caitlin Clark in just her second game of the year. But the biggest storyline isn't the stat sheet. It's the fact that her trademark 3-point shooting suddenly looks completely out of rhythm. Clark finished just 1 for 7 from beyond the arc tonight after going 2 for 9 against Dallas. That puts her at only 3 made threes on 16 attempts through the first 2 games of the season. For a player known as one of the most dangerous long-range shooters in basketball, those numbers stand out for all the wrong reasons, and the deeper explanation points directly to the role Stephanie White currently has her playing.
Will say there's nobody in the world that's a better point guard, better playmaker, passer than Caitlin Clark. I mean, the girl's throwing backdoor passes to Kelsey Mitchell, backdoor passes to Sophie Cunningham. She would have had about 16 assists. I counted about 16 to 17 assists if these ladies could make their layups. Make your layups. If we make layups, dude, this team is golden. Okay, this team is golden if they can find a way to actually start making some damn.
This is the part of Caitlin Clark's game that isn't being discussed nearly enough. Every 3-pointer she's knocked down this season has come off a catch and shoot situation. Not a single make has been created off the dribble. No step backs, no pull-up jumpers, none of those deep logo range shots that turned her into a generational talent in college. The reality is she's being used very differently now, and this offense has to figure out how to actually get her cleaner looks. Still, the playmaking is untouched. Her vision remains on another level. She's threading backdoor passes to Kelsey Mitchell, slipping bounce passes through traffic to Sophie Cunningham on baseline cuts, and constantly creating advantages that don't show up in the box score. Indiana easily could have finished with 16 or more assists if her teammates had simply converted basic layups at a consistent rate, and that leads straight into the second major issue this roster can't ignore.
I'm gonna be real with you. I'm happy we got the win. You had as many fouls as the millions that your contract are. You had 6 fouls for $6 million. Wait a minute. You didn't score a single point in the first half. Now, largely, I blame a lot of this on Stephanie White. Stephanie White is so hell-bent on Aaliyah Boston being a hub and all of this stuff, standing out at the 3-point line all game. The girl don't really post up. When she do post up, Kelsey Mitchell don't throw the ball in there to her. We're going to get
6 fouls, 4 rebounds, and 0 points in the first half. That's the kind of stat line you don't expect from a player who just signed a $6 million extension. Yet that's exactly what Aja Wilson put up tonight, and it raises serious questions. But this isn't just about the player. The bigger issue starts with the system. Head coach Stephanie White has been using Aaliyah Boston as a high post connector, parking her around the perimeter to facilitate, set handoffs, and act more like a passer than a finisher. In the process, she's barely being used for what made her a top draft pick in the first place, dominating inside the paint. Meanwhile, players like Cameron Brink and De'Arica Hamby controlled their matchups and got the better of her throughout stretches of the game. That kind of imbalance isn't just on execution, it reflects a coaching approach that's creating more problems than it solves.
7 minutes, check this out, 27 minutes, damn near 30 minutes, you didn't get a single rebound, a single assist, a single nothing. Like you literally just look to get your points. I get it, I understand. Look, Kelsey Mitchell is a microwave scorer. She can get hot quick. But I mean, damn, like, come on, man. You get 30 minutes, you don't get a single rebound, a single assist. All you doing is out there hunting.
Now, turning to Kelsey Mitchell, she finishes with 23 points on 9 of 17 shooting, including 3 of 9 from deep. And that's where the box score starts to lose its flattering tone. Mitchell logged 27 minutes in this game, yet the stat sheet shows 0 rebounds, 0 assists, and virtually no defensive disruptions worth noting. In today's game, where guards are expected to impact more than just scoring, that kind of one-dimensional production stands out. There's no question she can heat up in an instant. She's a pure scorer, a true microwave option, and that skill set absolutely has its place. But with Caitlin Clark actively generating looks and organizing the offense for everyone else, the lack of any real two-way or connective contribution becomes harder and harder to ignore.
You mean to tell me you couldn't get past somebody and get a drop-off assist a single time? You're not even looking to pass the ball. You're not looking to pass, bro. And it is cool. Don't worry about it. Caitlin will handle it. Caitlin will score, and she'll get everybody else involved, and you just worry about scoring. It is what it is. I'm not looking to Kelsey Mitchell to get no assists no more or do anything else besides score. That's just it. That's just it. She doesn't pass. She don't look to pass. She's just going to dribble it, and look to get a bucket.
Watch the film, and the pattern shows up immediately. Kelsey Mitchell attacks off the dribble, gets into her pull-up game, and leans into isolation sets. The defense collapses, cutters flash into space, and the ball still tends to stick. Now contrast that with Caitlin Clark, who actually finished with the same shooting line, 9 of 17, but added 9 assists, 4 rebounds, and carried the primary playmaking load for Indiana throughout the night. Same scoring efficiency, completely different impact on how the offense flows. This isn't about labeling Mitchell as a negative. She's a highly skilled scorer who can swing momentum in a matter of possessions. The issue is fit. When she shares the floor with Clark, the partnership only reaches its full potential if Mitchell is willing to operate as more than just a shot creator for herself. Right now, she's functioning almost exclusively as a finisher who rarely reverses the playmaking role. And if that doesn't evolve, defenses will continue tightening the screws and forcing Indiana into isolation-heavy possessions down the stretch. In fact, that exact scenario nearly unfolded in the fourth quarter tonight.
Jackson and Sarah Ashley Barker and all that. I don't know what their GM was thinking. Ariel Atkins was awful. Ariel Atkins was terrible today. And I'm gonna be honest with you, I can't remember the last time I watched Ariel Atkins play good basketball. I don't know what that Sparks GM was doing, but this roster looks atrocious. Ray Burrell stinks. I just got to keep it real. Ray Burrell's not good, y'all. Ray Burrell, she's okay, but she's long, but she's not good to me. I'm sorry. She's toolsy, but she's not good. But Kelsey Plum.
The Los Angeles Sparks are struggling. There's no real debate there. Ariel Atkins turned in one of the roughest outings you'll see from a starting guard this season. Ryan Howard, for all her physical tools and potential, still hasn't settled into consistent production at this level. And the front office decisions to move on from players like Ray Burrell and Sarah Ashley Barker are looking increasingly questionable as the season unfolds. This is a roster that already entered the year under heavy criticism for how it was constructed, and tonight only reinforces reinforce those concerns. And that's exactly why Indiana cannot treat this win as some kind of validation. Beating a bottom-tier team by single digits isn't a statement of strength. It's not a benchmark to build on. If anything, it's a warning light flashing in plain sight about where this team actually stands.
Clark, man. Caitlin Clark, I think, is the best player in the league. Caitlin Clark has to find her three-point shot. I'm telling you, once she finds her three-point shot, it's over. It's over. And I don't know what Stephanie White has done. She's not making threes right now. All of the threes that Caitlin Clark has made so far this season, none of them have been off the dribble. None of them. She hasn't made none of those step backs, none of the pull-ups. The 2 threes she hit versus Dallas were catch and shoots, and the one she hit today was a catch and a shoot. So she's got to get her off.
The conversation around the Indiana Fever has started to lose focus, and a lot of the noise is drowning out real basketball analysis. This is a team just 2 games into the season. They got blown out on opening night, turned into the league's punching bag for 2 days, and then bounced back with a win that, while far from clean, shouldn't be brushed aside. But the deeper structural problems are very real, and ignoring them does no favors for Caitlin Clark or this roster. Start with the most uncomfortable reality. Caitlin Clark is already operating as the most complete point guard in the WNBA right now. That's not exaggeration, it's what the film shows. Her vision, her timing on backdoor reads, and her ability to manipulate defenders before delivering passes with precision are elite traits and rarely seen at this stage of a career. Tonight's 9 assists could have easily turned into 15 or 16 if her teammates finished at a professional level. That's the real separation right now. Her creation versus the team's conversion. And the shooting slump? That part will correct itself. A 3 for 16 stretch from deep over 2 games is not something worth panicking over. It's early season rhythm loss, nothing more. But there is a legitimate discussion to be had about whether Stephanie White's system is actually putting Clark in positions where she can shoot off the dribble, the very area where she is most dangerous. Every 3 she has made this season has come off catch and shoot situations. No movement pull-ups, no deep off the dribble threes. The shots that defined her at Iowa and made her a nightmare in transition during her rookie year. Something in the offensive structure has shifted and it needs to be addressed. Then there's Aaliyah Boston. She's being used as a hybrid stretch forward in an offense that doesn't truly operate with stretch spacing. That means she's often stationed away from the basket, spending valuable possessions on the perimeter instead of dominating inside, where she's at her best. The result? 6 fouls in just 24 minutes. That's what happens when a physical interior player is forced to defend in space against quicker opponents. Constant recovery situations lead to cheap fouls. Indiana didn't extend her for $6 million to turn her into a perimeter role player. They paid her to control the paint, and the system needs to reflect that. And finally, Kelsey Mitchell remains the most complicated piece of the puzzle. Her 23 points look strong on the surface, but there was nothing else attached to it. No rebounds, no assists, no defensive impact that shifts possessions. In today's game, that kind of profile only works if the scoring efficiency is elite, and while Mitchell is undeniably gifted, she's not consistently operating at that level. Her scoring ability is not the question. That part of her game is legitimate. The concern is everything else that is slowly becoming a structural issue for this team. Ball movement, rebounding effort, and decision-making in key moments. Tonight there were multiple possessions where a simple drop-off pass was clearly available, yet she opted for the pull-up instead. That isn't random. That's a pattern. That's how she plays. On the positive side, there were real contributions worth noting. Monique Billings made a strong first impression in her Indiana Fever debut with 9 points, 8 rebounds, 2 assists, and a perfect 1-for-1 from 3-point range. Even more telling was her decision-making in transition, quickly getting the ball back to Caitlin. Clark, instead of trying to overextend her role as a playmaker, something you sometimes see from players like Natasha Howard, that kind of discipline fits this system. Sophie Cunningham also delivered exactly what Indiana needs more of: 12 points, 7 rebounds, and relentless defensive pressure that disrupted possessions and frustrated opposing sets. Those are winning role player minutes, no question. Behind them, Tyra Harris is still finding her place in the rotation. She's getting minutes over Raven Johnson largely because of her shooting ability, and Stephanie White clearly values floor spacing, but Harris has to resist the urge to ignore Clark in half-court reads when the offense tightens up. Lexi Hull, meanwhile, went 1 for 4. from deep, and when those shots aren't falling, she currently doesn't provide enough secondary impact to guarantee rotation minutes. Michaela Timpson and Maya Caldwell barely saw the floor, which reinforces the reality that this bench is still very much under construction. Looking ahead to the Washington Mystics on Friday, this is a game Indiana should win on paper, but that only matters if execution matches expectation. Games like this can't turn into late fourth quarter scrambles because of stagnant offense or questionable shot selection. The Mystics are exactly the type of team that will punish any lack of focus or structure. Indiana has to set the tone early, get Aaliyah Boston established inside, generate cleaner off the dribble looks for Caitlin Clark, and prevent Kelsey Mitchell from drifting into isolated possessions when ball movement is required most. Zooming out, this season is already shaping into a defining stretch for multiple people in the organization. Stephanie White is tasked with coaching the most watched player in the history of women's basketball while also developing a young, uneven roster. Aaliyah Boston is entering a crucial phase of her development. Kelsey Mitchell is, intentionally or not, playing for her long-term role as a secondary scorer. And Caitlin Clark is under a level of scrutiny that no young WNBA player has ever experienced. Every possession dissected, every reaction amplified. That brings everything back to one central question. Is Stephanie White the coach who can unlock this group, or is she part of what's holding it back? Because through 2 games, the offensive structure hasn't consistently played to the strengths of its best players. In fact, some rotations, including Boston's usage and late game decisions, have created more questions than answers. Indiana fans deserve clarity, not spin. So where do you stand? What's the biggest issue right now? Is it Kelsey Mitchell's one-dimensional style of play, Stephanie White's system not maximizing Aaliyah, Boston, or just early season chemistry issues that will naturally smooth out over time? Pick one and make the case. And if you've watched this far, subscribe, because Friday's matchup against the Mystics should tell us a lot more about who this team really is. We'll break it all down right after the final buzzer.